Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about expressions. So, what exactly is an expression? An expression is a statement that can include literal values, it can include variables, it can include operators, but what makes it an expression is that it has an evaluative step. So, let's look at a couple of examples. So, an example of a statement that's not an expression would be something like saying, let x be a number. Awesome, valid statement, but not an expression because there is no evaluative step. A example of a statement that is an expression would be saying something like x is equal to x plus 5 because we're having to evaluate what the value of x would be here. So let's look at a couple of examples, starting with some numerical ones. So the concept of an expression is something that we all see pretty early on in math when we're doing basic things like addition. So we could say that x is equal to 12 plus 8. And so this is a pretty simple numerical expression. So let's check what the value would be. So we would anticipate that x's value is going to be 20 because it's going to be whatever 12 plus 8 is. So, cool, our value is 20. But we're not limited to just using um, number literals when it comes to expressions. So let's look at another example. I could also say that x is going to be equal to x times x. And this is also considered a valid expression. So what would we anticipate the value of x to be now? So we've actually got two expressions going on. So the first expression is saying that x is equal to 12 plus 8. So x is 20. And then here we've got a second expression that is saying x is equal to x times x. So what is the value of x times x? That's 20 times 20, which we would expect to be 400. So let's check our work really quick. Cool. The value of x has been evaluated to 400. So like I said before, using numbers is a pretty natural way to think about expressions because we see this concept in math so often, but it's actually not the only way that we can use expressions. Expressions also can be used with Boolean values. So I could say something like, let y be equal to true and true. And so this is also considered a valid expression because we're having to evaluate what is on either side of this and operator. So here, if I said print the value of y is, we would expect true to be printed in place of y, and it is. So this is a pretty simple Boolean expression, but we can actually do so much more with Boolean expressions. We could also say something like y is equal to 6 greater than 7. And this would be a Boolean expression as well, because even though we're using number literals here, this will evaluate to a true or false value. Because 6 is not greater than 7, we expect false to be printed. Cool. We can also do the same thing with string values here. We could say that cat is equal to cat, and we would expect true to be printed. Cool. So what makes these Boolean expressions expressions is that on either side of the operator, the Boolean operator, we're having to see if these match and evaluate them. So that's a quick overview of expressions. If you want more practice or to go more in depth on some of this information, go to comp110.com and go to topics, and we have a whole page dedicated to expressions where you can get into even more examples and practice on expressions.